Hi, I'm doing Paul McWhorter's Pico lessons, and I'm up to lesson number 76, which is all about using an infrared remote control with a servo, but I decided to add an RGB LED as well to make it a bit more interesting. I'm not using the Sunfounder kit because I don't have one. I've got an LED remote, LED remote control, which kind of does the same things, and I'm doing it differently to Paul because Paul said press the power button, and that means you're starting up a list of the commands you want to put in, and then you press whatever buttons you want to do, you store them in your array, you press EQ, and then EQ will go off and execute all the commands that you've put in. And I thought it would be so much easier because all these function keys, as soon as you press it, it wants to do whatever it wants to do. The only time you want to put any of the keys in an array are the number keys. So if you want to move the servo to 180 degrees, you have to press 180 and then press something, otherwise it doesn't know what it's doing. So this is why my approach is slightly different. The front bit is all boring, setting up stuff, then as opposed to having to declare explicitly have to declare things global. I put them in a class flag. Then I've got my various functions for moving the servo, setting the colour, etc, etc, etc. And it isn't until we get down to here where these are the functions that are invoked by pressing a button. So we've got the main body of the program doesn't do anything, it's just doing that to keep the program alive, and when I press Control C it closes everything down nicely. What does all the work is in callback. Now what callback does is it returns to you IR bit, which is the code that is associated with the button you've pressed. For example, if you press the power button, it gives you back a code of 69, and you've got all of those. And in addition to those, I've also got -1, which is the code you get back if you keep your thumb pressed on the button. So what I do is, that flag remote on is saying, have I already turned it on? And I'm checking to see whether I have, or am I turning it on, as in, have I just pressed the power button? And if neither of those are true, it just goes and it waits for another button press. Then it comes in here and it takes the code from the key and it looks in the dictionary and it finds it, or it doesn't find it, and it finds it, and these entries here are functions. So what it does is it executes that function. So that key pressed square brackets IR actually is translated into a function call. So it's just going, for example, power pressed to open close bracket, so it would go off and do that function, come back here, and this is just to store or not store the last key that you've pressed. So if it's a repeat key, you don't do anything here, but otherwise you clear out all the digits that you may have entered because you either didn't need them or you've used them, and then it stores the previous key that you hit. Now if it doesn't find the code in that lot, it will go off and look in another dictionary, and this dictionary is just if it's a code of 22, you've pressed 0, etc, 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 and this is just storing all the digits you've put in to in an array so you can use it. So you'll be able to get your angles and colours and whatever. So the first thing you have to do, stop saying so, the first thing you have to do is to press power. I could actually run this program and explain what it does. I'm running that. Right, nothing's happening. I can press all of those buttons, nothing happens until I press power. It says power press called, remote on is true. Now what power press did is fairly simple. It just says if it was on, turn it off. If it's off, turn it on. I clear out the digits, and I clear out the current colour. So then we go back down here, and it's just now saving the fact that I press power key. Press another key. What shall we do? What shall we do? We'll do the servo first because that's what Paul wanted. So you press 180 and then EQ to move the servo to there. Yep, it moved to 180. Then if we go 90, EQ moves to 90. If you put in something like 410, it will only move to 180 because it would break if it tried to do any more than that. With the servo, I've got these two. Oh, I'll show you the code for the servo. It's all very easy. Move servo. It just says that the min max, so that makes sure that the angle is between 0 and 180. Moves it to there, and that's all it does really. So if you press that button, I'm keeping my thumb pressed on it, and it's moving it by the increment. I think I made it 5. Yes, it's about 5, but as I'm storing it, and in my servo class it might not be exact sometimes. Oh yeah, it doesn't like that. It suddenly goes below that. And the code for that is where are you? Back pressed. All that does is it says move the servo to that is getting the current angle of the servo, and I take off the servo step. So if it's at 180 and I press back once, it will take it to 175. So well, yes, servo step is 5, and equally the move servo is adding it. So that is all very simple. The interesting bit is repeat. When I kept my finger pressed on the button, I didn't have to go press, 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 press. It brought up -1, so it went into this repeat function, and it says if the key is in repeatable, you call the function of, if the previous key that you pressed was a repeatable key, then you call the function for that key. doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense at all. So in repeatable, I've got a little, repeatable. Those are the codes for that key, that key, that key, and that key. Because it makes no sense to be able to keep your finger pressed on one of the number keys or the power key or whatever. It would cause mayhem. So it's just those repeatable keys. I think that's finished the servo. Yes, it has. Colours. Colours. What's the first one? Colour, colour, colour. Right. Got set colour, invert colour, dim colour, which isn't dimming the whole colour because that would be too difficult. It's dimming one element of the colour. So it might be dimming red, green or blue, or brightening red, green or blue, and then that's just something else. Yep, that is it. So the first one, I can invert the colour. Invert colour is function stop, which is up there. It's off at the moment, and that's white. And if I invert the colour, it's on. No, it's off. Stupid one. And that's all very simple. Invert colour. I've just got in my RGB class, I've got a method that is inverted. So if it's red, it will turn to cyan, or if it's blue, it will turn to yellow. You know, like opposite on the colour wheel. What else can I do? Right, if I want to put in a colour, set colour, I need to put in the colours. So if I go 255 000, it needs 3 digits for each colour. So that's full strength for red, no green, no blue, and set colour is, I can't remember, Sturupt. Right, it's red. Hurrah! If I invert it, it's cyan. If I invert it back, it's red. Then I've got other things. Volume up and volume down are to increase the colour. So you have to choose which colour you want to do. So if I chose blue, for example, which is 2, then I do, whoops, then I press colour up, and I can, this is one of my repeat things, so I can either just like that, or I can keep my thumb on it, and that's magenta. And if I want to get rid of the blue, I press 0 for red. It says there, 0. Don't know why I'm pointing, you can't see when I'm pointing. And then if I go volume down, goes down, 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 up, 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 up. So you can control each element. Now if I say I want to do something with green, so I press 1, I think, oh, actually I didn't want to do anything green, so I can override that by pressing 2, which is blue, and then if I go volume down, that is red, because I've got no green and I've not got no blue. Now, does this program do anything else at all? No, I don't think it does. So if I press power off, it doesn't actually move the servo, it doesn't turn the thing off. I can press power on again, and I can then do things with the servo, like did I show how the servo moved with those buttons? Probably I did, but if I didn't, I'll show it again. And if you go Control C, it will put the servo to naught and it will turn the thing off. So that's my program. Terrible, terrible video, difficult to explain. Goodbye.